You want to put down that our test is going to be Tuesday of next week. So when is our test?
No, not yet.
Tuesday.
What day is that on?
That will be on the 30th, January 30th. There are 16 questions worth 55 points. Okay? So, test is January 30th, 16 questions, 55 points. As you look at the poster over here, first one, Stephen, would you look at the poster and read the first standard it has?
What poster?
The yellow one on the top for Unit E.
I can compare and contrast proportional relationships.
So please write that right now. I can compare and contrast proportional relationships. Those 3 questions will be a total of 16 points. What do I mean by compare and contrast with proportional relationships? So these are the type of questions that you will see. So you might see something like where I give you a word situation or story problem. Okay, so a word situation or an equation. And I might give you both these. I might give the equation and the situation. And I might ask you to graph. What does the graph mean? Or graph it on the same axis. So you might be asked to graph a situation, and you might be asked to graph an equation on the same line or on the same coordinate. So I'll give you this, and I'll say label your axes and graph the word situation and the equation. Okay, that's going to be one type of problem. Second type of problem you'll see on the first part of the test will be I'll ask you to compare 2 lines. When you are looking at those 2 lines, I'm going to ask you to compare their steepness or slope. I might ask you, are they steep or are they flat? So the steepness or the flatness of the line. I might ask you to identify their start point, which we call our what? Start point is our y-intercept, our b. And then the third type of problem of this type that you're going to see on the test, the third type of question that you'll see, will be one where I ask you to compare, and I'll give you a table. Then I'll give you a graph, and then I'll give you an equation, and I'll give all 3 of those to you, and I'll say, well, compare. What can you tell from the table? Like, when you're comparing, what do you know their slopes are? Are the slopes the same or are they different? What do you know about the y-intercept? Is it the same or is it different? So that's how I'm getting those 16 points. Each problem could have a few parts to it, okay? Second standard. Gunnar, would you please read on the poster?
I can find and explain slope using similar triangles.
Yes, and Timothy, let's do the third one. Let's do on the poster, let's do standard 3 next. So Timothy, you want to read standard 3 for us?
I can model linear relationships and interpret M and B.
So this is going to be the second portion of the test. If you think of that poster, it's standard 3 that's up there. The third one, which is that I can model. So please make sure you write that down. Model linear relationships and interpret the M and B. So I'm going to give you something like some of the questions. I'll give you a situation. And what I mean by a situation, or I'm talking about a story problem, right, where I give you the information. And I'll say something like, define the slope, or the M. What does it mean? So I'll say, what is the slope equal to? You'll give me an answer. And then the second half of the question will say, what does this mean? Just like when you were looking at E12 and you did those story problems, you explained the slope and the y-intercept, and then you told me what does it mean, okay, in this situation. Stephen, you writing this down or not?
Yeah, I do.
I will also ask you, what is that y-intercept in that situation? So if you're thinking about E12, what does that y-intercept mean? So you'll say y-intercept equals, you'll tell me a number, then you'll explain what it means, okay? You will have a story and a graph. And again, you will have to explain, what does the slope mean, what does the y-intercept mean, and write the equation. So again, I might give you a story situation. You will want to say, oh, here's the m. It equals this, and then you have to explain it in that situation. You'll tell me this is the b, and then you'll explain. And then you will probably look at writing the equation. So just like we've been practicing in your homework. So now, as we are looking at that standard 2 on the poster, Haley, you want to read it again for us?
I can find this one slope with similar triangles.
So, I can find the slope with similar triangles. Have you done that in your homework? Which worksheet?
Yes.
Which worksheet had similar triangles? So I can find and explain slope with similar triangles. Exactly like 25 to 28. You're going to look at the graph, tell me the slope of the line. You are going to tell me 2 points. One question is going to ask you to draw 2 different size triangles. Then the second question is going to be very much like 27 and 28, where I'll ask you to draw 2 triangles and find the slope of each and then explain it. So I'd make sure that you take a look at those. There will be 3 questions on this part. Each one, total of 14 points total. Total of 14 points. Okay? 3 questions, total of 14 points. So, hint, look at 25 through 28. Okay?
Mm-hmm.